Israeli forces are expected to touch down on home soil tomorrow. The activists are currently in Jordan, where they have been confirmed to be safe and in high spirits. The group will arrive at the Or Tambo International Airport at around 9 tomorrow morning. Their return is being facilitated with financial support from their families as well as solidarity groups. Parliament's ad hoc committee investigating allegations of police corruption has faced delays over Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi's statement and oath. Members of the committee have also called for the removal of evidence leader advocate Norman Arendse. MPs say Arendse made an error when he failed to submit an original statement from Mkhwanazi before he takes an oath. And the case against alleged underworld crime boss Vusumuzi Matlala has been postponed. Matlala appeared briefly in the Alexandra Magistrates Court today. The state asked for more time as it awaits approval from the National Director of Public Prosecutions to centralize other matters into the case. Those are the headlines. This EWN and more at 1 or as it happens.
EWN Sport.
Good afternoon, I'm Tolagele Mganga. Bafana coach Hugo Bruce has been dealt another injury setback after Ekrem Reyners withdrew due to medical reasons and is now replaced by Evidence Mahoba. It's the second injury-enforced change for South Africa ahead of their FIFA World Cup qualifiers against Zimbabwe and Rwanda. Bruce yesterday confirmed that Ndusha Balala had replaced Rile Mufokeng in the squad.
What qualities he has, I think, if you see the games of Chiefs, I think that Ziduzi is someone, he has an action, he knows where to run when there is a space. For me, his best position is behind the striker. So if we use him, it will be on that position.
So did you see the sports minister has tweeted
About
this?
Mm-hmm.
He says, and there's a picture of Bruce, says, all of us, I truly mean all of us, want our favourite players to be selected for Bafana. Let's trust the coach. He brought us this far. Let's allow him to take us further. Our football is in good shape currently. Buy your tickets, please, to see us qualifying for the 2026 World Cup.
I don't know, because all the best players are in the squad. So I don't know why he would say the best team, unfortunately, at the moment is Orlando Pirates. That's why they have the most players in the Bafana squad. So I don't know why he's making it seem like Bruce is working on an agenda. That's very weird. Tasman Brits has made history at the World Cup yesterday after scoring her 5th century of the year, which is the most by a woman in a calendar year. Her knock of 101 secured a 6-wicket victory over New Zealand as the Proteas women got their first win of the campaign.
I thought that was a good chase. I thought, I think it's a good wicket. I think it was a batting wicket. So I think they were actually a bit short of runs. I definitely think like maybe a 280 would have worked. I think in the beginning it was a bit more tacky, but I think our bowlers executed very, very well. I think they bowled great line and lengths and they put the pressure on.
And LeBron James has sparked retirement rumors after posting on social media that he'll today announce his second decision. The video set up of him sitting in a chair and talking to a journalist mimics his 2010 television special, where James revealed he was leaving the Cleveland Cavaliers to sign as a free agent with the Miami Heat. Tolagele Mganga, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
Well, at this stage, if you are leaving Alexandra heading towards Midrand, traffic remains sluggish in the Calvin area on the N3 northbound between Modderfontein Road and the Peklu interchange. Also leaving the Joburg CBD, that's in the Amalgam area, slow-moving traffic. M2 westbound between the Crown interchange and Main Reef Road. Brakpan, there's also slow-moving traffic heading towards Benoni. That's on Rangeview Road between Dube and Tom Jones. In the Mother City, we still have that accident scene, M5 northbound approaching the Koeberg interchange, causing delays. And the Huguenot Tunnel remains closed off to traffic. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
It all starts with FNB Private. With secure, easy payments for a hassle-free overseas holiday. Tap, swipe, or go digital with your FNB Visa cards. Earn rewards when using your FNB credit card or global account debit and virtual card. You can even fund your global account on the FNB app while traveling. Make the most of every moment. Unlock invaluable with FNB Private. Help changes everything. FNB, a division of First Rand Bank Limited, an authorized FSP and credit provider. TC's earn rules and limits apply.
Your coffee cup doesn't disappear when you chuck it. Since most cups are lined with plastic and they stick around for centuries, BioPack makes South Africa's first locally manufactured home compostable cups and food cartons that break down naturally in just weeks. No plastic, no guilt, no microplastics. Just smart packaging that serves you and the planet. Biopack, designed to disappear. Visit bio-pack.co.za. That's bio-pack.co.za to find out more.
Spring is in the air, meaning it's almost time for the 10th SA Garden Day on Sunday, the 12th of October. Celebrate the day with a garden party, lunch under the trees, or cake at a community garden, and invite your friends, family, or neighbors to enjoy your garden with you. Visit gardenday.co.za for inspiration and share pictures of your celebration on social media with #GardenDaySA. SA Garden Day, Sunday the 12th of October.
WhatsApp Mandy on 072 702 1702.
Hi, Mandy. I 100% agree with the analysis by Duma Qubule. I think we are in crisis mode, and unfortunately, more of the same is not going to help us. We are in deep crisis mode, and we need to increase spending in the economy. And he is right to say that demand in the economy is low because people simply do not have money to spend. This is Kokezo from Joburg.
Good afternoon, Mindy. Duma Qubule is emotional because it's anti-Ramaphosa and anti-ANC, period. I'm from Pretoria.
Good afternoon. President Ramaphosa said we're going to turn South Africa into a construction site. Could somebody please point out where this construction is happening? Because I don't see any evidence of it anywhere. Thanks, Justin.
Thanks very much for all those messages on the WhatsApp line. Cyril should have presented a GNU plan and not an ANC one. When is he going to include his GNU partners in our economic recovery? Treasury should have drawn up the economic recovery plan and definitely not the ANC. Cyril is leading SA further into disaster and needs to go. The irony is that in the ANC's economic plan, there is mention of the fact that there will be consultation with the GNU partners over the budget. So I agree with you. We should be seeing a GNU plan. Motlanalo says, Duma is so passionate. Yo, Mandy, this government will harm our health, literally. And then Bainan says, get rid of the ANC and its baby and all our problems will disappear. Lots of reaction there. Keep sending those WhatsApp voice notes through.
The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener on 702 and Cape Talk is brought to you by Nedbank Commercial Banking. See money differently.
Well, staying on that theme, also happening today, Kgalema Motlanthe, the former president, and Parks Tau, the minister of DTIC, speaking on a panel event about the future of broad-based black economic empowerment. So let's find out what's happening there. Tabiso Okoba, EWN reporter, is attending that. Tabiso, good afternoon to you. Tell us about some of what has been discussed there.
Good afternoon, Mandy. As you said, this is the frank dialogue on Black Broad-Based Economic Empowerment, which is BEE. I just stepped out of the room right now. The BEE Commissioner, Mr. Matona, has just finished his presentation. And what Mr. Matona has actually been doing, Mandy, is actually drawing a line between when the BEE was actually passed as an act. It was passed in 2003 and where we currently are now. Basically saying that, when it was passed in 2003, it was actually just BEE, Black Economic Empowerment. But over the years, there's been a number of changes and amendments to actually improve and actually make it much more broad-based in introducing some initiatives. Like youth initiatives, ownership initiatives, and all other amendments to actually improve the BEE. What he said now is that we are actually at a turning point when it comes to this legislation of broad-based economic empowerment. And his opinion is that more amendments are needed to actually improve BEE rather than just abandon it totally. But it is obviously going to be an interesting conversation here. The former state president, Kgalema Motlanthe, is obviously going to speak around his submissions. And we do know, Mandy, that the BEE as a law faces domestic pressures, but also international pressures, especially with the ongoing sort of tariff impasse that South Africa has with the USA. The USA, obviously Washington, raising some issues around the black economic empowerment, even though I do have to say that maybe how Washington understands the BEE is not exactly factual, but it is that BEE is at a turning point. We know that there are some parties within the government of national unity, like the DA and Freedom Front Plus, who said that BEE hasn't worked, let's scrap it and come up with a new system to actually address those past imbalances caused by apartheid without actually having a system that only benefits a few political elites. So we are obviously expecting Kgalema Motlanthe to actually speak around his submissions, but there's also going to be the Pakistan Minister of Trade and Industry. But there's also other people who are here who don't necessarily support the BE. I saw someone from the Institution of Race Relations from Africa Forum. So it's going to be, it's just started, but it's going to be a very interesting event for the rest of the day. Mandy.
Tabiso, thank you so much. Tabiso Goba, EWN reporter at that panel, where the former President Kgalema Motlanthe, the Minister of DTRC, Department of Trade and Industry, Parks Tau, currently speaking about broad-based black economic empowerment.
702. The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener.
Let's walk the talk.
Well, also happening today, COSATU organising a march to commemorate the International Day for Decent Work as part of its broader National Day of Action. Organisers saying the intention is to advance the struggle for decent work, fair wages and job security. And you heard what Duma Ngubule was saying there about unemployment and the frustration and how people just need some kind of stimulus. And unemployment is a huge issue. 7 out of 10 matriculants will not get a job in this country. And that's just frightening. Carlo Peterson, EWN reporter, is following that march for us. Carlo, good afternoon to you. Tell us about this march, where it's on its way to the provincial legislature in the Cape Town Civic Centre. Tell us about what's happening there.
Yes, good afternoon, Mandy. So earlier, about 500 marchers gathered in the Cape Town CBD in support of COSATU. They started singing apartheid struggle slogans in Hanover Street before proceeding down Darling Street and then onto the Western Cape Provincial Legislature. We spoke to the Western Cape Provincial Secretary, Alvin de Bruyn, of COSATU, he's saying that the aim is to hold both provincial and national government accountable for the high unemployment rate in the country, which currently sits at just over 33%. He says that they will be handing over memorandums. They have now handed over memorandum at the provincial legislature to the Premier and then to national government as well as the city of Cape Town. Those memorandums will speak to the question of job creation in the country. They're calling for decent jobs and real jobs for the people of South Africa.
Carlo, thank you so much. Carlo Peterson, EWN reporter, following that COSATU march in Cape Town.
The Outsurance pointsmen know that every car on the road carries a story. There's a car full of groceries and a lady who will be attempting to make her mother-in-law's famous recipe for the family dinner tonight.
5 mils of sugar.
The Outsurance pointsmen know it's not just a car in traffic, it's butterflies and a potential bonding moment. Every story is different and every story matters. That's why the Outsurance pointsmen have been doing what they do since 2005 in proud partnership with 702. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
Dreaming of your next adventure? Spend less and travel more with We Buy Cars. With their range of rides at incredible prices, We Buy Cars has what you need. What's more, you can make use of their affordable finance solutions and value-added products. Selling your car? Sell within minutes to We Buy Cars and get paid instantly. We Buy Cars, the best place to start your car journey.
Connectivity is where it all starts, but it's only the beginning. From AI to cloud to cybersecurity and IoT, Vodacom Business offers so much more, powering South Africa's boldest organizations. Always connected, always protected, always moving forward. Named South Africa's most trusted enterprise telecommunications provider 2 years running. Search Vodacom Business. Together, let's build the extraordinary. Vodacom Business. Further together.
WhatsApp Mandy
on 072 702 1702.
Hi, Mandy. Yeah, I know you can definitely hear and you can feel Duma's frustration. And I think maybe echoes the frustration of a lot of South Africans. But also you got to give it to him with regards to the passion. And this is exactly what we need. We need people like him, thinkers who understand the economy, and who can give practical solutions to how we can overcome some of these things. I think we become over-reliant on maybe just what the government says, and we often then neglect people who are on the outside looking in, who can provide us with those solutions to get us to where we need to be and where we definitely ought to be. Thanks. Bye.
Hi, Mandy. Regarding this 10-point plan, I think we as the people of South Africa can just ignore it. But what we can't ignore is that the president mentioned the government retirement fund and that it should invest in certain places. That's alarming, hearing that. It's beginning talk again about that. Anyway, thank you, Joe.
Thank you very much for all of those WhatsApp voice notes. Lots of reaction there to Duma Qubule and his views. A lot of people agreeing. Just the level of frustration, the anger, the desperation. And it's because people don't have money and we need stimulus. What does that stimulus package look like? I think people have different views on that. But keep sending those through. I'd love to hear from you.
702.
Mandy Wiener.
Weekdays 12 to 1 p.m.
So we've spent a bit of time focusing on the ad hoc committee in Parliament. That inquiry delayed this morning. General Mkhwanazi due to give evidence there, but the EFF's Julius Malema raising concerns around the affidavit. Someone pointing out to me on Twitter, let me actually read this to you because I think it's quite relevant. This comment. Let me find it. The concern is around the fact that I'm bemused how some of the callers' jaded views on Julius have misrepresented what he said in Parley. He said he wants a statement addressed to Parley. He even said they can remove the page that's addressing the commission and replace it. Nothing about a new statement. So just some clarity there on that one. But another inquiry also underway today, and that's Scopa, the Standing Committee on Public Accounts. That inquiry into the Road Accident Fund. Lindsay Dentlinger, EWN reporter, following that for us. Lindsay, good afternoon to you. Tell us about this inquiry and what the intention is and what's happening.
Good afternoon, Mandy. Well, unlike what was happening across the precinct earlier, this is less of an adversarial process. It's really to try to get to the bottom of the malfeasance and poor governance at the Road Accident Fund. That was really an investigation started by the previous administration and this particular committee, where incidentally the former chairperson is now the Deputy Minister of Transport responsible for the Road Accident Fund. And so we've really just gone through the process of submitting claims. This committee is not intending to look into matters of why certain people's claims are not being processed or looked into, but they are looking at the process and the kinds of backlogs that have bedeviled this fund over time. And so we have acting managers here before the Standing Committee on Public Accounts explaining the process, explaining the prescription, explaining the kinds of efforts that they've been putting in, they say, over the last 2 years or so to clear some of the backlogs in the claim. So we're not expecting any witnesses per se to appear before this inquiry this week. It's really, this week is meant to set the groundwork, set the scene, if you will, for the parliamentarians here. We'll hear from the Department of Transport, from the Legal Society, and from the officers of the Auditor General and the Accountant General later on in this week. But for now, it is really just trying to get to grips with how the fund has been operating. And chairperson of this committee, Zongezo Zibi, explaining that this wasn't about trying to find people guilty, as it were, which is often the expectation people have when they hear the word inquiry. But here's his open remarks to the committee earlier today, Mandy.
When people hear the word inquiry, they sometimes think somebody will be found guilty of something at the end of it. One of the objectives the committee set itself is to also look at systemic problems. It's one of the points of our relationship with the SIU, for instance. It's something the Auditor General looks at all the time. In other words, it's not always individuals that are a problem. It doesn't mean that there aren't cases like that, but sometimes the system is broken or obsolete in one or other ways. And the committee's responsibility is to make those observations, base them on evidence, write its report, oversight report, and then table it before the National Assembly.
Thank you very much to Lindsay Dentlinger for bringing us that story. Very important, this inquiry into the Road Accident Fund. For years and years, it has been plundered and now it's started to make payments again. But to understand what exactly went wrong, how it can be corrected, and how we can ensure that that agency is fixed going forward. Real growth needs more than just banking, and Nedbank Commercial Banking is your growth partner. Their team of industry experts understand your business and its potential, offering insight to help you see opportunity where others see obstacles. Because when you can see what others don't, you can do what others can't. Think bigger. Think Nedbank Commercial Banking. See money differently. Nedbank is a licensed FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
So, Taryn, you've just graduated cum laude, but nothing says you're a genius quite like selling your car to We Buy Cars.
Absolutely. My car was an 18th birthday present, and it's time to move on to something a bit more mature.
So, where did you hear about We Buy Cars?
All of my friends are using We Buy Cars. I would have had legit FOMO if I hadn't used them. And it was so quick. I did it on my laptop while sending around my CV.
Smart move, Taryn. Graduated and upgraded. We Buy Cars. Geared for success. Geared for you.
Weekdays on the highway, weekends on the trail, in rain, on tar, or halfway up a gravel pass. With the new Bridgestone Jeweler All-Terrain AT002, you don't have to choose. Bridgestone, prepared to perform whatever the terrain.
The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener is brought to you by Nedbank Commercial Banking. See money differently.
Hi, Mandy. The 10-point plan might be good on paper, but what's new? The concern is always the implementation side of it. And this is an ANC plan. They haven't presented it yet to the GNU partners, and they haven't had their buy-in. So until that happens, then it's just something which is just on paper. And arrogance from the ANC is not going to help their cause. Thanks. Farai.
Good day, Mandy. If the roles were reversed, say Mkhwanazi appeared in Parliament and now had to go and appear before the Commission, would the Commission accept that statement in the manner in which they want to, the evidence leaders want to present it before Parliament? No, this is unjust. I think the evidence leaders must be called, to order. It's unacceptable, and I agree with the parliamentarians there.
Thank you very much. Reaction to that first voice note, I did see the DA put out a statement saying effectively that the ANC's plan is the DA's plan to turbocharge the economy, which identified roadblocks that needed to be removed. And then the quote from Matt Cuthbert is, the ANC's plan just adds its own failed ideas of BEE and race-based policy to the DA's plan announced last month. So reaction there from the DA. On the WhatsApp line, POS says, yo, Mandy, Duma is fed up, just like the majority of South Africans. Sad face.
7:02.
The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener.
Let's walk the talk.
The Premier of KZN, Thamsanqa Ntuli, and the MEC for Education doing an oversight visit to the National Senior Certificate Examination Papers Printing Centre in Durban today. Can you believe that we are at that time of year already, where they are already printing matric papers and exams on the horizon? Nhlanhla Mabaso, EWN reporter on this story for us. Nhlanhla, good afternoon to you. Tell us about that visit. What's happening there?
Mandy, a very secret visit it was. Good afternoon. Well, when we got there, even the officials themselves, Mandy, this includes both the Premier and the MEC of Education in the province, they had to leave their phones outside. Their protection team also had to leave their phones outside. Any staff member that went, they got a tag that that showed that they are visitors. But mainly members of the media were not allowed to come inside that particular building. We were not even allowed to do the doorstop interview right in front of that building. But outside, where the building could not appear in camera, this is for security measures according to the exam printing center. They say that they are preparing for these final exams, Mandy, but most importantly, they say they want to ensure that there are no paper leaks. They want to ensure that nobody knows where these papers come from. You recall there were instances where examinations in the province would, for example, be disrupted by community members who are protesting near schools, and papers would end up not arriving at schools. They say this time around there's a different approach. They are working with all law enforcement agencies, including SAPS, Metro Police, and municipal officers, as well as private security companies that have been hired by the department.
And what has the history in KZN been like around the leaking of papers, the security breaches? Obviously, that's something, as you've described, that's a big focus.
Well, indeed, the big focus is that, in some instances, there were reports that papers would have been leaked and that learners, by the time they get into the examination room, they would have known what the paper contains. Although the chief director of education in the province says in the past 21 years, there's never been a leak, but there were reports of leaks. But mainly, like I've mentioned, the reports of cars transporting these examination papers not making it to the centers. But now, this time around, they say they won't be any of that. They say there won't be leaks, but also they will be working with law enforcement to ensure the safety around exams, but also the issue of crime mainly in the province of KwaZulu-Natal. You recall that just last year, a teacher was shot and killed multiple times in full view of her learners. Another teacher was stabbed at a school parking lot. A principal was shot at a parking lot. They say this time around, they'll ensure that there are no such incidents. Also, the gang fights that we've seen between pupils in different schools, the robbery incidents, they say this time around their security is very tight. Well, the MEC even went as far as saying that they will ensure that they don't talk about their security measures, but we do know that the department has acquired security guards that will be transporting the papers, but will ensure that the papers also leave the school safely after being written. Another issue, mainly that I asked, you recall that a lot of schools, especially early this year, around 400 and something schools were affected by weather disasters in parts of KwaZulu-Natal. I asked authorities that, well, it seems as though whenever there's a weather alert in KwaZulu-Natal, it becomes a serious issue. What are you going to do around it? They say everything is on standby. The Department of Copra is also on standby to assist in this regard.
Ntlantla, thank you so much. Ntlantla Mabaso, EWN reporter, speaking to us there about that visit to the Matric Paper Printing Centre.
WhatsApp Mandy
on 072 702 1702.
Good day, Mandy. I am not a legal person, but City Power is going to lose this one. I'm definitely sure they are going to lose. If someone comes to Radio Place and has got a search warrant, why must they specify? They are going to search for what they think they might find. You know they're investigating you. You're taking chances in just wasting companies' money. The winners here are legal people. They are lawyers. Thank you, Cecilia.
Hi, Mandy. The 10-point plan by the ANC has got nothing to do with economic recovery. It's all about the ANC's recovery.
Good afternoon, Mandy. I think, of course, we are tired of this Julius Malema. I think he knows very well. I think this is the last year for him because next year, you know very well, will not be in the parliament. So he's trying everything to delay everything in the parliament. Thank you.
Thank you so much for all the engagement today. Plenty of WhatsApp voice notes coming through today, and it's been good to engage with you and listen to them all. The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener on 702 and Cape Talk was brought to you by Nedbank Commercial Banking. Think bigger. Think Nedbank Commercial Banking. It's 1 o'clock.
This is EWN.
South African flotilla activists expected back home tomorrow and delays in the start of Parliament's police inquiry. Good afternoon, I'm Bali Dlamini. The group of South African Good afternoon, I'm Bali Dlamini. The group of South African activists who were detained